I'm just basically, I would say, a collector of, skills, right? I see something and I'm like, hey, you have this skill, you have that skill. Everyone can be a change maker if only they see something, and instead of walking away from it, asking themselves, what is it that I can do? By doing that little thing, you plug into something else, and that plugs into something else, and before you know it, you're building a community around you that are all dedicated towards, trying to solve this one thing, that you started, as, an empathetic human being. In 2010, I founded Village Energy. At the time, about 85% of the population lived off-grid. After 5 years of trying to figure out how I can get clean energy products into rural areas, I encountered one of my potential clients. He was an old man. His name was Richard Ojangole. And Richard took me to his house, sat me down, and he explained to me that when he first invested in a solar system, it turned out he had already bought one, he hoped that he was going to get his daughter to get some more reading time. He was also hoping that it would reduce his expense on energy, but also to raise the prestige of his household. But after 3 short months, the solar system broke. So this created bitterness in him. He vowed never to invest in solar systems again and reverted to the use of kerosene. What stuck with me, though, was the frustration in his attempts to drag his family out of these circumstances, only to be knocked back by a simple lack of infrastructure. I, too, am not foreign to this kind of humiliation. I grew up in a very middle-class household, family of doctors, beautiful house, in neighborhoods with streets named with Western names. The street was called Tafnell Drive. But for some inexplicable reason, I was so young, for some politics I never understood, our family was thrown out of that house. So we had to deal with the humiliation of guarding our property literally outside on the street. But I also see this humiliation in the eyes of thousands of young people who either cannot find a job simply because they are not educated, who cannot access an education, or young people who access the education but cannot find that break that they're looking for. So I asked myself, what if we can create an entirely new industry? An after-sales service industry that supports the solar industry. An industry that makes sure that no one who invests in a solar system should fall back. No one should go without accessing a service or a repair. But what if, even more significantly, we could put young people in charge of this after-sales service industry? So this is what we do at Village Energy. We build an after-sales service industry by creating a network of solar shops that have the parts and the trained technicians that any household would need in order to thrive with their solar system. But we also train young people from those rural areas to be those technicians. Our story has showed us that when you trust young people with an entire industry, they can rise to the occasion. When you place technology in their hands that connects them, they can create a movement. When you ask them to be recruiters of other young people, you create an even bigger movement. So I ask you, I challenge you, how do you see young people's employment? Can you break those barriers? Can you break those restrictions in your mind that think young people are only good for the small jobs? Can you challenge yourself to put an entire industry in the hands of young people? Thank you. The future of Africa is actually in believing in young people. The future of Africa is in trusting young people, right? Not just giving them instruction on what to do, but giving them the space to express, who they are, to express their creativity, and lead, innovation, lead this charge, towards turning Africa into a self-sustaining continent.